And now we move on to Moomina. Moomina, please do correct me if I do not pronounce your name correctly. Moomina Waheed is, before being appointed the Commissioner for a Human Rights Commission of the Maldives, she was recently working as a consultant on the delivery of labor and employment mandate in the Ministry of Economic Development. And during her tenure, Moomina undertook many tasks and responsibilities, which included, important things like formulating and implementing the process of transferring the employment mandate from the Maldives immigration to the Ministry of Economic Development. Sounds like not just a thing that you do with a piece of paper, but a lot of meetings and a lot of work and a lot of advocacy work, as one could imagine, since this was such an important policy change by the new government there in the Maldives. And subsequently, she also was in charge of the establishment of the employment approval process of expatriate workers. I could go on and mention some of the important things that you have done, Moomina, but maybe we, an important thing there I think I also need to add is that you have worked as a migrant workers rights focal point at the Commission itself, and therefore you are well placed to answer the question that we have for you, really looking at a rights-based perspective. And we would like you to highlight for us here, can we understand a bit about the barriers and the challenges that are encountered with working with key stakeholders in order to create this awareness, on issues that are related to human trafficking. So the question here, really coming from the Maldives, what challenges do you what challenges have you had in combating human trafficking, and particularly to migrant workers, and looking at also the current and the recent developments that you have sort of taken forward in addressing these challenges that are related to migrant workers and human trafficking. Over to you, Moomina.
Thank you so much, Penny. And you pronounced my name correctly. In the first instance, it was not, but later it was correct. Okay, let me start with my presentation. I'll just, sorry, the video. Hi, everyone. Before just answering the question, I would like to give you a brief introduction or kind of a explanation about the current situation of Maldives. Maldives is actually party to 8 core international conventions, but Maldives is not party to UN Migrant Workers Convention to combat trafficking.
Moomina, sorry to intervene. I think we cannot see. Are you sharing screen?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay. Super. No, I thought you had mentioned you were sharing screen, but sorry, just go ahead.
Yeah. To combat human trafficking, Maldives has ratified Anti-Human Trafficking Act, and though the act need an amendment to bring the definition of human trafficking in line with the UNT protocol. Currently, the government is working on it, and I got the chance even to comment to that document. And just to give you a brief update on the situation, actually, the World Bank estimates that the inbound migrants in the Maldives have increased from 2,422 in 1985 to 94,086 in 2015. International migrants constituted less than 4% of the population in 1990, and it had increased over 25% in 2015. In that same year, almost 60% of all migrants in the Maldives has increased from Bangladesh migrant workers, actually. It's a huge concern, and currently the government estimates this number has been increased, kind of double the number. The majority of these migrants are employed in low-skilled labor, notably industries essential for the country's economic growth, such as construction and tourism. As you know, that the challenge that we have, that geographically dispersed, and this construction is mainly done in some resorts and islands, is a challenge that we have. It's actually approximately 169,000 documented, and estimate that there will be around 65,000 or plus undocumented or irregular migrant workers. And this is a kind of a big challenge that we have at the moment. As reported over the past 5 years, human traffickers exploit domestic and foreign victims in Maldives, and traffickers exploit victims from Maldives abroad. It has been noticed practices indicative of forced labor, including fraudulent recruitment, confiscation of identity and travel documents, withholding or non-payment of wages, and debt-based coercions. Report says migrant workers pay approximately $2,500 to $4,000 for the recruitment. This again is a major concern. The work of the human trafficking mandate is guided by the Multi-Stakeholders National Steering Committee formed under Anti-Human Trafficking Act of Maldives. And 5 years National Anti-Human Trafficking Action Plan has been adopted by the steering committee. The concern is, in the Human Trafficking Action Plan, there are a lot of activities to advocate for the issues that we have and to implement standard operating procedures. However, the past 5 years, it was not running and not doing the job as it has to be. But however, now it has started again and another action plan has been adopted. Maldives Police Services has a special unit for investigating human trafficking cases in Maldives, and also they have a different case management system and a referral system as well. Maldives Immigration has an anti-trafficking unit to investigate trafficking cases. Some of the barriers that, before highlighting that, I would like to let you know that Human Rights Commission has conducted various programs to increase awareness among the stakeholders and migrant workers. HRCM worked with stakeholders from government, international institutions, and with the Employers Association to raise awareness on the issues related to human trafficking. Some major challenges include limited budget resources and qualified and trained human resources in the sector. This includes the Human Rights Commission as well. This includes other implementing agencies as well. Due to this challenge, staff working in providing victim support and has a very limited knowledge, and it is a challenge to train the frontline officials on differentiating sex trafficking from sexual abuse, and train immigration officers on social services providers to identify and refer suspected trafficking cases to police. Also training law enforcement and judges on investigating the cases of human trafficking and crimes, and application of anti-trafficking law is also a challenge. For this, we need adequate budget and resources. However, it's a challenge at the moment, and the new issue is COVID-19. I don't know what in the coming year also we will get enough budget to do these trainings. However, I think these online trainings and methods that we can use to overcome the challenge. HRCM has done quite a lot of things to address this issue. During the past 3 years, HRCM has disseminated more than 3,770 information cards, Know Your Right leaflets in different languages, including Malayalam, Bangla, Nepalese, and Hindi. These Know Your Right brochures was designed and translated in 5 languages, and this leaflet contains information about rights of every person stipulated in the Constitution of the Maldives. Disseminated this information on various occasions, and still it continues. We have also prepared and disseminated on-arrival information card, and this has been disseminated through immigration officials and embassies. Also in 2019, we had an employment forum, And this forum, in this forum, employee association, employers, and regulatory bodies has participated. Currently, we have started in this public awareness campaign on migrant workers, and this awareness campaign will also cover issues related to human trafficking. The new commission has also decided in the coming year to conduct a public inquiry, a national inquiry on issues related to migrant workers, as we believe this is a huge issue that we need to come up with some recommendation to the state and other agencies in order to address the human trafficking issues. Another challenge is anti-human trafficking mandate is changing to one government agency to another. While I was at the Economic Ministry, it was a mandate of Economic Ministry, but later the mandate has been changed to Ministry of Defense. So the investing to build the capacity of the institution when the mandate has changed to another has become a challenge. Another challenge I want to highlight is since we are geographically dispersed, capacity building of island councils and other officials working in the island is not very easy. HRCM has though conducted various programs in 2017 targeted to migrant workers and issues related to human trafficking. However, this training has to be an ongoing training, and we need to train the officials on SOPs for proactive trafficking, SOPs for proactive trafficking victims identification and referral to service is important. Another challenge I would like to highlight is I think I have covered the last challenge that we have, that is the issue that we have that the National Steering Committee is not functioning well before, but now they have started, and I'm very much hoping that they will come up with more awareness raising programs, and they will start to implement these SOPs that they have formulated. And the revision that we need to bring to the Act is also important. The main constraint, as you all know, is the budgetary constraint and the human resources. This is something that we have to address soon, because we need the willingness of the state as well as other agencies. I believe the current government has done a lot of work to address the issues of undocumented migrant workers. For that, they have established another a steering committee to address the issues related to migrant workers. And then under that committee, that they have started the repatriation work, and as well as Ministry of Economic Development has started registering undocumented migrant workers. So this registration program is currently also an ongoing program. This will allow undocumented migrant workers to legalize their status in the country and get the opportunity to re-recruit from another employer. And during this COVID-19 situation, pandemic, has brought some new challenges, and that I believe that the dynamic has been changed, because beginning we do not monitor the accommodation standards, or that rarely we do the regular inspections of the workers to assess the workers' situations. But now I think the COVID pandemic has given an alarm to the state that we need to give more focus on these issues to address the issues of human trafficking and irregular recruitment and migration. For the safe migration, to advocate for safe migration, the government has reviewed the SOPs and those SOPs includes quota, recruitment, and employment approval issuing, and penalizing if fraudulent recruitment has been done. So implementation, strengthening the implementation of these SOPs would allow to address the issues of human trafficking. I do believe that. I think that's all, Perry. I think I'll add on to others while we move on with the discussion. Thank you.
Moomina, thank you very much. I think that that gave us a very good perspective of the work that you're doing at the Commission, and I think it's ever so important to see those kind of efforts coming out from a commission like yours, and how you're working. Also, it seems as though the work that you're doing is trying to glue different parts of the government in understanding how to deal with the issue. And I think that's been a problem in a lot of different countries, where sort of inter-ministerial coordination becomes really an issue, and how you move it forward from, like you said, in terms of, even when you bring actors together in building capacity. I think some of the issues that you've also identified here, the limited knowledge that officers would have, border officials would have, but also non-law enforcement officials would have on the issue of trafficking, and raising awareness in their context, because in a way they may be the first line that a victim of trafficking may have met at a border, or in their line of work, and therefore that training remains particularly very important. But surprisingly enough, no matter if from countries where this kind of training is happening more and more, it seems as though that knowledge is not accumulated, that knowledge is not really being passed on. So I wonder, when you look forward into your plans in terms of training, how do you foresee making this much more sustainable? You've just mentioned an issue of funding as being a limited issue, but I'm also here wondering the kind of networks that you have had within the region, where you do more and more peer-to-peer learning. I think this is something that is being done in many parts, I guess, in the world. So maybe we can hear a little bit more about the future plans in making this kind of training sustainable, and maybe also putting it into the very what we would say the primary curriculum. As a border official, I've always wondered why that trafficking element is not part of a course that border officials would take, or that policemen would take, that nurses are also taking, all those who would be sort of the first point of contact that a victim of trafficking would encounter. So I think it would be interesting.
Actually, I just want to add one more point to that. Actually, Human Rights Commission is conducting a training program to police officials, and the program that we have started this year, we invited immigration officials and other officials, that we try to advocate this concept to them. But the problem is the change of people. It's like very fast. The officials keep, if the officials doing that, the key people change, it's not very easy to again develop the capacity of the new officials. So there should be some mechanism actually in place within those institutions, that when the persons retire, or when the person change the job or the position, the new staff that taking the lead should take a training course or initial introductory course that covers these informations, or covers these aspects of issues related to migrations or identifying trafficking victims and all those things. I think that's something that we need to advocate, and we need to find the underlying issue within the institutions, and also the underlying issues within the whole system to address this issue. Otherwise, for that, actually, we are doing the national inquiry, because this is kind of the most critical stage that we are in. The number of migrant workers has been increased, and undocumented migrant workers has been increased. While we are doing the repatriation program, what if they identified a victim of trafficking?
Yeah.
So these things we need to actually discuss with the authorities and build the capacity of the authorities, that once they identified the victims of human trafficking while doing even repatriation program, should we do the referrals? Should we follow the referral process first, or just sending off the person to their home country? These protocols need to be something that we have to write and guide them. This is the best practices they have to follow.
For
Thank you.
sure, for sure. And I agree with that in terms of trying to see how you can make it, because turnover in government, in public offices is something we cannot avoid. People have to change jobs, people have to retire, new people move in. So it's also about having a system in place that allows every officer who comes in line to understand the issues that are related. And like you've said, migrant workers have doubled, over the numbers are doubling, and let's see what the post COVID pandemic looks like. But it seems some old habits will die hard, as people would say. So, the numbers may increase more. And here we want to make sure that traffickers are not the ones that are winning in allowing migrant workers to move forward, but that they are also, So I was going to bring one question to you, which you can come back to us